Hey everyone, welcome to SFDC Stop, and in this video we are going to learn how we can create a custom Lightning record edit form using Lightning Data Service, right? So we are not going to use the record edit form that we studied in the previous video. We are going to create our own custom record edit form, and we are going to use Lightning Data Service to actually update a record using the record edit form, okay? So let's have a look at the HTML first of all and our component as well. So this is our component in which I have fetched one contact record named as Gavin Belson, and this contact record is shown over here, and I have a cancel button and a save button using which I can either cancel my changes or I can save my record. Okay. So what I have done in the HTML, I have just created a lightning card with a title named as contact form edit only one. So as you can see here, the title is contact form edit only one. And inside this lightning card, I am iterating the contact fields. Okay. So if you remember my previous tutorial where we created a getter and it was returning us the contact fields. So I'm just using the same code and I have updated that code to make it like record edit form. Okay. So the same contact fields are being iterated, and each contact field is given a name named as contact field, and I'm specifying the key over here. And inside the layout item, I'm using a lightning input where the label is nothing but contact field dot label, value is nothing but contact field dot value, the name of the contact field, which is nothing but contact field dot API name. So I have specified a name attribute here so that I can track which particular field value is being updated, right? So we'll see where we are using this name attribute later on in the JS. And I have also specified a function in the onChange attribute so that whenever I'm changing a value, for example, if I'm typing something like this, I can get a new value in the function. Okay. So whenever any kind of input field is changed out of these input fields in my form, this update contact field function will be called automatically. Apart from this, I have a cancel button and I have a submit button. So the cancel button is calling reset form function and a submit button is calling save record function. Okay, so this is the cancel button and this is the submit button, or I can say the save button. Okay, so yeah, that's all for the HTML. Let's have a look at the JavaScript now. Okay, so as you can see in the JS, I have some import statements. So first of all, I have imported Lightning element, which is by default imported for any LWC component. I have imported wire method because I am going to call my get record and update record methods from Lightning Data Service. And I have also imported a track annotation as well. Okay. Then I have imported some get record and update record method from Lightning UI record API. If you remember the previous tutorial, we used the get record method in the from the UI record API in our tutorial to get the record, right? But here we want to update the record as well, so that's why I have imported update record from the UI record API. Apart from this, I have imported get object info. So this get object info will be used to get the information about the contact object so that I can display the labels like we did in our previous tutorial. Okay. So this code is same. I have just added update record over here. Apart from this, I have imported a contact object from the schema, and I have imported all the fields that I want to query from the schema, like first name, last name, mobile phone, email, and code. Okay. Now let's move on to our component class. So inside our component class, contact record ID is hard coded, as you know, that this is the Gavin Belson's contact record ID. And I have created two variables now. The first variable is contact record, which is a read only variable. So this variable will store the original value that is coming in my contact record whenever I am refreshing the page. Next, I have created another variable named as contact record editable. So this is the kind of, you can say, variable which will be binded with my HTML. Okay. So this variable will be used to supply the information to this particular record edit form, and in case I'm changing something in here, all the changes will happen in this particular variable. And in case I click on the cancel button, so all the changes will be reverted. So I can say that this particular variable value will be used because this variable will contain the old value. So I can say that this will contain the old value. Okay, old value of contact fields, and this variable will contain the updated values of contact fields. Okay, Now let's move ahead. So let me just highlight this comment. Yeah, cool. So now this part is same as we did in the previous tutorial. We are using the get record method and we have specified a record ID as nothing but the contact record ID, and I'm fetching the record. But this time, instead of just binding the record to a variable, I have used a function because I wanted to set two variables here. One is the contact record, which is a non-editable read-only variable, and one is the contact record editable that I can update. Okay. So the data that I'm getting, I have just first of all logged it so that I can show you what I'm getting in the data. After that, I have assigned it directly to my contact record variable. And after that, I have created a copy of this data by using json.stringify and then json.parse, and I have assigned it to the contact record editable variable. At this point of time, a question may arise that why I have used this particular thing to make a copy of the data. So there are multiple ways using which you can create a copy of any kind of JavaScript variable. You can use object.assign, okay, where you can pass an empty object like this, and you can pass the actual object using which you can create a copy. Okay, otherwise you can also use a spread operator. For example, if I do it like this, that this dot contact record table is equal to, and then spread operator and then data. So this is also another option. But the point is that in my this particular scenario, the data that I'm getting is very complex. So in case you are getting a complex object structure, it is better to use json.parse and json.stringify, because it is possible that let's say if you have a structure like this. For example, you have an object like this, okay, and then you have another object inside this, then you have another object inside this. So it is possible that you have a copy created of the whole object, but inside the copy as well, this inner object may be linked to the old object's inner object. So I mean, this is a little confusing, but let me show you. For example, this is the object one, okay, that is the parent object, and let's say it is at an address of 10 in the or 100 in the memory, okay, and inside this here's an object 2 which has an address of 1110, okay. Inside this here's an object 3 which has an address of 120, okay. So it is possible when you are creating a copy of object 1 that you have another object which is created exactly like this in the memory, okay, and that object is a copy, so it is stored at a different address, for example 200. But it is possible that the inner objects that you are having inside the copy of the original object is referring to the same addresses. So it is possible that the copy of these objects are not created in case you are using any of the different methods. However, if we use this particular method like json.parse and json.stringify, so it makes sure that it is considering all the inner objects as well, and it is creating a copy of everything, and then it is keeping that copy, right, in a different memory location. So this is why we have used json.parse and json.stringify, because by default whenever the equality sign is used, this is basically passed by reference, and we want it to be passed by value here, okay, and this is, you can say, passed by value. And yeah, let me show you now what data is coming whenever my contact form is loaded. So it should be in the console. Let me refresh it once. Okay, so now you can see that this particular data is coming, and it is a quite complex structure that is coming in the console. Okay, let me just open it and show that data to you. Okay, so this is what I'm getting. As you can see, there is an object and there is another object and then another object inside that. That is why I have used json.parse and json.stringify to create a copy of this whole data. Okay, so what I have done, I have directly assigned this data to my contact record, which is uneditable or read only, and I have created a copy of this whole data and I have assigned it to contact record editable. In case I'm getting an error, I'll just console.log the error, and that's it. Okay, so that's about our get record method, which is responsible for fetching the values of the record. And contact object info, I don't need to use any function in there because I don't need to assign it to one or more variables. So I have simply used it like this: contact object info, like we did in our previous tutorial. It will get all the information about the contact object, and it will get the field names and the labels as well, so that we can set up the labels apart from the values. Okay. The next thing is that I have defined a getter. So this getter is also something that we learned in the previous tutorial, in which we have returned a contact fields array, and this fields array we are using to actually render our fields, right? So this contact fields getter is being used where I'm returning an array, and I'm iterating this array to specify the label, value, API name, and key of the field. Okay, here it is. So we are forming the array in the same way like we did in the previous tutorial. There is no particular change in this getter, but let me just give you a quick overview in case you are starting from this tutorial. So what I did, I have just used my contact record editable object, and I have checked that if this object is defined, because this is a wire method, so it will run asynchronously and it will update my contact record editable object at some point of time. So I have checked that if this object is defined, and in case my contact object info is also defined. So I have checked if both the variables are defined. Then what I'm doing, let me just show you. So what I'm doing here, I'm doing like yeah, I have executed a for loop over here over the contact record editable dot fields. So contact record editable is nothing but this particular record, which is in editable state. So I'm looping over the fields of it, and then I'm checking that if the current field is present in the fields. So it is just for security purposes, that if the field is accessible or if this key is accessible, then what I'm doing, I'm creating a fields array where I'm passing a key which is nothing but initially the key is 0, and then I'm incrementing it, so it's just a unique number. I'm passing the API name, which is nothing but a key, or I can say the API name, which is the key of the field. Okay, so the API name is the key, which is nothing but field, and then I'm specifying a label. So the label is nothing but the contact object info dot data dot fields, and then a particular field and then label. So in case you want to know about this in detail, you can refer to the previous tutorial where we decoded the JSON of contact object info as well, and we find out how we can extract the label by using the API name. So basically, in that particular JSON also, we have an API names like this, and we have an entry for label, for example, like this. Okay, so that is why I have just used it like that contact object info dot data dot fields, and then that particular field, and then the label of that field. Okay, after this, I have specified the value of the field. So the value of the field can be simply, we can simply get it by the main object, and then fields, and then that particular field, and then its value. Okay, so I have used it in the same way. So this whole object, then fields, then that particular field, and then its value. Okay, so this is how my contact fields array is being created and returned from the getter, and I'm using this array by the name of contact fields because my getter name is contact fields over here, right? So I'm using this array and I'm displaying the values of different fields of my contact record, as you can see in the form. Okay, so let's move ahead. Apart from this, what I have done, I have added an on-chain handler to each and every field that is there in my contact record. And this on-chain handler is calling my update contact field. So that means whenever I'm changing any value, for example, this, so it will automatically call my function, which is nothing but update contact field. So let's see what is there in my function. So in the update contact field, first of all, I'm getting what is stored in the name attribute of my lightning input, and in the name attribute I have stored the API name of my field, right? So that is why I have stored the API name over there when I was creating the contact fields array, so that I can use it later on. So the API name which is stored in the contact fields array is basically referred in the name attribute of my lightning input, and whenever I'm changing a field, I'm able to identify that which particular field value is changed by getting the API name of that field. So for example, I'm choosing or doing something here, and here you can see I'm getting the API name as code underscore underscore C because I'm changing in the code field. In case I change the first name field, I'm getting the API name as first name. Okay. So now I know that whenever this function is called, which particular field is being updated. And inside this, I have just added an if condition that if this name field or this API name is present in my fields array, and if it is accessible. So what I'm doing, I'm displaying its value, which is the current value of that, and then I'm updating its value. Okay. So for example, initially the value is given 11, and if I just make it 112, so the initial value was given 11. Okay. So this is the old value which is being displayed over here in the console.log, and after that I got the new value from event.target.value, and then I update the value in the editable fields. So in case I add one more, now I'll get the previous value as given 112, right, because it was updated. So I just updated a new value to that particular field value in the contact record editable object, right? So it is the same object. I'm just updating the value right here. Okay. Yeah. So after that, I have displayed this contact record editable object. So in case you want to know that what is the updated value, for example, let me just do some updation like Belson 1, and the earlier name was Bensel, and I can just store it as a global variable, and I can show you what is there in my object. So json.stringify and then temp1. Okay. So if you see here that in case of my last name, yeah, so in case of my last name, the value is updated as Belson1. Okay. So this is the new value, which is nothing but Belson1. Okay. So the earlier value was Belson. Yeah, so my contact record editable is being updated automatically whenever I'm making any change in my field. Now we have a save record method as well, and this save record method is being called whenever I'm clicking on the save button. And in case I'm clicking on the cancel button, my reset form method is being called. So let's have a look at reset form first because this is easier, and then we'll have a look at the save record method. So I'm just skipping this save record method for a while, and here is my reset form. So what this reset form is doing, it is resetting the contact record editable with the original value of my contact record. So it is again creating a copy of the contact record like we did in the beginning. So if you remember here, we created a contact record copy or the copy of our original data and stored it in the contact record editable. So in case I make some changes, for example, I make some changes over here, I make some changes in the first name, I make some change in the last name. Okay. Now what I want, when I click on the cancel button, everything should be reset to its original, yeah, old value. Okay. So that is why I have just used the old value which is already stored in contact record, I can say property, and I have updated my contact record editable property with the old value by creating a copy of it, right? So whenever I'm clicking on the cancel button, I'm showing the old record, I'm showing the new record, and then I'm updating the new record with the old record's value. So let me show you this. I'm clicking on the cancel button now, and I have done a lot of updations. Okay. So as you can see, the new record is automatically updated with the old record's value. And what I have displayed here, so this particular JSON, it is the old record. So as you can see, everything is fine here, like value is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, email is fine, Gavin name is fine, and last name is also fine, right? And this is our new record which is displayed over here. Okay. And if you see here, the value is the updated value which you updated earlier, right? And if you see the first name, it is also the updated first name that we updated earlier. If you see the last name, this is the updated last name that we updated earlier. Okay. But after that, we assigned the old record to the new record. So that is why my new record is now updated, and it is now showing me the updated value, which is nothing but the previous one. So this is how my reset form function is working on clicking of the cancel button, and it will reset the form no matter but values I have added, it will automatically reset it to the previous value. Okay. Now let's have a look at the save record function. So as you know that save record function is being called whenever I'm clicking on the save button, and this is responsible to save the record at the server side, or I can say in Salesforce, by clicking on this button, and it will use Lightning Data Service to save the record. So on clicking of this button, what I have done, I have created another object named as contact, and this object I have created because I have to pass the data to my update record method in a particular format. So in order to create that format, I have used another variable and assigned it an empty object, and then I have created that object in that particular format. So I'll show you what format is this. Let's have a look at the format first of all now. So if I just go to the user interface API developer guide, because Lightning data service is built on the top of user API, or I can say UI API, right? So whenever you want to update a record in case of a UI API, you have to find or pass the record in this particular format where you have an outer object, and inside that you have a fields, I can say a fields key, and then I can have all the fields along with their values. So here is the API name of the field, and here is the value of that particular field. Okay. So what I have done in order to create this type of structure, I have kept a simple object, and then I have assigned all the fields of my contact record editable to contact.fields. And if you remember, in my contact record editable, the fields are like this, right? So it is having a display value, it is having a value as well, right? So what I have done now, but here I don't want like the display value and the value. What I want a API name and I want a value like this, in the same manner like this. Okay, so this should be the API name and this should be the value directly. So what I have done, I have iterated all these fields, which is nothing but the contact record editable dot fields, which I have assigned to this particular contact object. I have iterated all these fields, and in each iteration, I'm checking first of all that if that particular key is accessible, then I'm setting the value of that key, which is nothing but contact dot fields. I'm setting the value of that field, which is nothing but an API name, to the value of that particular field, right? So this is the API name, I can say, and this is the value, right? So basically what I'm doing, let me just tell you once again. I'm saying that contact dot fields, which is nothing but this particular object, and then a particular field, which is nothing but referred by this, is equal to contact dot fields, which is nothing but this particular object. Okay, and then that particular field, because I'm taking each field one by one, right? So the current field, and then the value of the current field. Okay, so this is the value of the current field. So I have just ignored the other properties of that particular field, and I have directly updated this as this. So I have just removed everything else, and I have kept it like this. Okay, like this. So it will just come now like this. Okay. So this is how I have updated my object, so that I have the fields array, and I mean I have the fields object and I have the API name and the value of that field after that. Okay, so now my contact object is updated with the fields. The next thing that I need to have is to include the ID field in the fields array as well. So, or like I should say the fields object. This is not an array, it is an object, right? So I should have an ID field because it will help me to update the record, because without the ID field I cannot update a particular record, right? So I have just added one more attribute in my fields object, which is named as ID, and I have specified a record ID, and I can access the record ID very easily by accessing the ID attribute of my contact record editable, right? So I have accessed the ID attribute of my contact record editable, and I have filled the ID attribute of the contact fields by using the record ID. And finally, I have just console.log this particular contact object. Let me just add or wrap it by json.stringify so that I can show you how this updated object is now looking. Okay. Okay, so let me just refresh this page because our source is pushed, and let's see what we are displaying while saving the record. Okay, so yeah, here's our form. Let's say I made some changes, like I updated the code to 12345. I updated the first name to Gavin and the last name is Belson. Okay, now let me just clear it and I'm going to save it. Okay. Yeah, so the record is updated successfully, and here you can see that this is what I have created by using my custom code, right? So this is nothing but a first console.log in which I am displaying my contact record. So this is the format which is similar to this particular format that I have created. Let me just show you in a new tab. So this is the same format which is acceptable by the update function, or I can say the update record function of Lightning Data Service, right? So we have updated our, or I can say we have created a new object which is in the perfect format using which I can update a record. Okay, so this format is similar to this one. Okay, so this is the update record function that we have imported from the Lightning UI record API, and I have passed my, you can say, the contact object in the update record function. Okay, so inside this update record function, what I have done, I have I mean, linked the then and the catch methods that we usually do while calling any method imperatively from LWC component. And in case my record is updated successfully, I have just added a console.log that record is updated. And in case I'm not able to update the record, I have just added a console.log that I'm unable to update the record. And after that, I have like console.log the error, and I have also specified the error body, message, and detail as well. Okay. So let me just show you in case of an error what happens. As we have already seen the success message that the record is updated successfully, and this is nothing but I think the load method is again called. So that is why we are getting another console.log, and we are most probably getting this from this particular uh, load method. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's it. In case the record is updated successfully, it's fine. And let me just show you once that what will happen when an error is there. Okay, so my mobile phone is mandatory. I'm just going to replace it with a blank, and I'm going to save this record. Okay, so here you can see I'm getting an error that unable to update the record, and here you can see that this is the error that I'm getting. Okay, so the status is 400. The body consists of a message which says an error tried while, I mean, error occurred while trying to update the record, please try again, and I'm getting the error messages, right? Okay, so I have just displayed a message over here by using error.body.message. So this message is nothing but an error tried while trying to update the record, please try again. I don't think we have a detail over here, so I can simply remove it. Okay, and in case you want to you want to show more information about the error, you can do that as well. Let me just show you. So if you just check out this JSON, you can get more information about the error, like the message from the errors array right here. Okay, so you can just refer to the body and then the output object and then the errors array, and you can find out the message over here, and you can display that message as well. Okay, so you can just navigate like error.body.message dot something something. Okay, so the error message is visible and we can extract the error as well. But I think we have some issue with our form because it is showing the contact ID field and all the fields are accidentally blank. Okay, so let's just debug our code and see what's the issue. Uh, Contact dot fields. Oh yeah, I think we forgot to make a copy here, because here also we need to make a copy of this dot contact record array table, right? Because we are creating a new object here. So if I just assign it to contact dot fields, it will directly pass it by reference. But we need a copy here because we are changing the structure of this contact dot fields, which is not required in the form, right? So what we can do, we can create a copy of this by using the spread operator, because it is just a single level object, so it's fine by using the spread operator. And for our ID, I can just copy this particular string by appending a splice method to it, right? And I think this should work fine. Okay. I'm sorry, it's not splice, it's slice. Yeah. Okay, so our source is pushed. Let me just refresh the page, and we'll again have the whole flow, right? So the code is updated to 7890. I'm going to save it. So the record is updated successfully. Okay, and my init method is again called. So this JSON is basically coming from this method, right? Which is the wire method, this one. Okay, so my init method is again called because my record is updated successfully, and now I'm going to see an error. Okay, So I'm just going to remove this field or make it blank, and then I'm going to save it again. So here you can see now I'm getting an error, unable to update record, and I'm getting the whole error as well. And the error message is nothing but an error occurred while trying to update the record. Please try again. And my form is also perfect, so it is not distorted this time. Okay, so I can click on the cancel button and will restore it to its older state. Yeah, so the issue was regarding the making the copy of the field. So I mean, these are the things that you need to take care of while you are working on LWC, when you are working with the wire methods, or even when you are working with Lightning data service as well, right? Yeah, so our save record function is also working fine now, and we have successfully created a Lightning record edit form by using custom code and our Lightning data service. Okay, maybe the original Lightning record edit form is also working in the same way, and we have created another form in a similar way. Okay. Yeah, so that's all for this tutorial, everyone. I hope you liked it. All the code that we have used in this particular tutorial, I'll upload it to the GitHub, and you can find it under the Lightning Data Service branch of my GitHub repository. Let me just quickly show you the repository, which is github.com/Rahul Salesforce-LWC-concepts, and you can find all the code in this Lightning Data Service branch of this repository. And if you want to refer to this particular component, the component name is contact form edit only one. I'll give the link in the description of the video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video where we'll learn some new concept. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.